Breaking here on Happening Now, a federal judge overseeing the trial of former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort and his deputy Rick Gaetz now says their trials likely will start in the fall. And one opinion writer for Politico says that could have dire consequences for Republicans in this year's midterm elections. He writes, quote, "While many Republicans insist the Trump-Russia saga is overblown, they worry headlines about federal indictments, high-profile trials, and a potential blockbuster meeting between Mueller and Trump himself could obscure their positive message ahead of November elections and threaten their House and Senate majorities." Joining me now, Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida. He's a member of the House Judiciary Committee. So you heard the elements of that Politico editorial. Are you worried, Congressman?
Not worried at all. If Bill Clinton taught us anything, it's the economy, stupid, and the Democrats certainly can't run on that. We've got a booming economy, growing GDP growth, illegal immigration is slowing, and really we're winning on a lot of the priorities that the president laid out. So we've got to maintain our focus on the economic gains that the American people are enjoying, and the Democrats are the ones that have to use Russia. They have to extend out these investigations because they cannot run on a policy message. They'll lose there every time.
So you think that all of this, the potential headlines about Manafort and Gaetz and Russia and so forth, all of that is just noise that voters are going to ignore?
I would compare all of that to Monica Lewinsky and Ken Starr and all the activities that surrounded Bill Clinton in 1998. People thought that an unpopular president at that time dealing with a special counsel would bring down the Democratic Party. The reality was Republicans didn't gain seats during that election because we had 6 straight quarters of economic growth. And so if we remain focused on our economic agenda and on the things that really impact quality of life for Americans, I'm sure we'll be successful. Remember, it's the Democrats that have to distract and divide. It's Republicans who simply want to focus on the agenda we laid out in the election and that we're executing each and every day here in Washington.
But if Democrats want to distract and divide, they're going to have an awful lot of help from the headlines, are they not?
Well, certainly the circumstances now are not ideal. You've got a biased probe. You've got the board of directors for the Never Trump movement essentially participating in the Mueller probe, from his number 2, Andrew Weissman, who attended Hillary Clinton's election night party, down to the very people who are defending the Clinton Foundation against FOIA requests. So that's one of the reasons why I've called for the Mueller probe to end, but I certainly don't think that it's going to result in major electoral wins for the Democrats, because in my district and many others, people are focused on pocketbook issues, not Russia.
But what about the politics of this? I mean, the judge, Amy Berman Jackson, has said that this trial is going to take place in September or October. Does she not run the risk of coming against the same kind of criticism that Jim Comey did when he got involved in, the presidential election, making rulings on Hillary Clinton and her private server?
Well, it's entirely possible, but again, it goes back to my premise that when people go and vote, I don't think that they're going to be more focused on a courtroom far away than they are about the decisions that they have to make at their own kitchen table each and every month. And so while, again, I do believe there is a coordinated strategy on the part of Democrats to try to time litigation events where they would have some relevance to the election, what I continue to hear from average Americans all over this country is that they're excited about the prosperity that America is enjoying right now during President Trump's leadership, and that will be their focus in picking their leaders going forward. So we can defeat this Democratic delay strategy with these Russia investigations by continuing to focus on the issues that impact people's quality of life.
So you're convinced that the economy and economic gains are going to overwash any concerns about what Paul Manafort and his associate Gaetz were doing?
Well, look, I think that all of it contributes to the national discussion we're going to be having. That's why the oversight work of the Judiciary Committee is so important, to ensure that when we see evidence of bias or prosecutorial misconduct or other events that would call into question the legitimacy of those litigation events, we have an obligation under our oversight responsibilities to point those out, to expose them. I think that's one of the reasons why, in a recent Harvard poll, 54% of Americans believe that the Mueller probe has conflicts of interest. But at the end of the day, it's the economy. The economy is growing, and we've got to continue to pass the reforms in Washington that will continue to contribute to that economic success of all Americans. And I think that in 2018, we may win so much we'll be tired of winning under the great success of President Trump.
Congressman Matt Gaetz, Republican of Florida. It's good to have you on. Thanks for your optimism there.
Good to be on.